Hello and welcome. You are with Sandra at It's All About Choices, and welcome to Nutrition Lunch and Learn. And you are live with Sandra, your RDN. And every week I have the pleasure of dishing out your weekly dose of nutrition and wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. And so I hope that everybody had a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving holiday. I cannot believe we are at the end of 2023 almost, and Christmas is right around the corner. But we are here to get armed. We are here to be prepared. We're here to not have fear going into the holiday regarding our health and our weight. And I hope that everybody is doing great. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And thank you for tuning in live with me. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule just to have a little self-care time, which is much needed, so that you can stay healthy and that you can stay whole. And for those who take time out to listen to the replay, I thank you very much for doing the same. And so we are on a new theme. We are all talking about 'tis the season to be jolly and food galore. So we think we've had a lot of food so far. Well, we have a whole lot more coming, don't we? And so I'm kicking things off with sweet delights, comfort foods, very, very typical. So, how to indulge and avoid the holiday weight gain. I say that you cave into those cravings. Okay. So, here I am, the dietitian, saying you need to cave into those cravings. And there are many, many, many reasons why you want to do that. But there's a sane way to do this, right? And so, we are a solid month or two into the holiday season. I personally feel that the holiday season begins at Halloween. Even though you may not celebrate Halloween or endorse Halloween, we eat the candy and we tend to eat more sweets at that time of the year. So we have the holiday goodies, we have the cookies, we have the candy, we have the fruit cake, we have pies, we have all that stuff galore, right? And so holiday comfort foods such as the dressing, the casseroles, the mac and cheese, the fried turkey, the ham, galore. Okay. So we just have stuff galore. Okay. And it's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time for fellowship, and it's a wonderful time for family. And so it's important. However, we don't want to come out of the season feeling sick or ill or having gained 10, 15 pounds that now we're going to spend the whole 2024 trying to get off. That's what we really want to avoid. And so we also have other things on, in addition to the comfort foods and the sweets, we also have the holiday spirits, like the eggnog and the holiday drinks and all that. And guess what? I'm going to talk about that next week. So stay tuned for that one. And so many of us, we're starting to stock up early on the holiday eating and the treats as they appear on the shelves, as things come on sale. We're really stocking up, right? And so the bottom line is the season is all about celebrating togetherness and adding, then you got that indulgence to add, but we want to do that in moderation. But I do believe that you should enjoy. And so stay tuned. I'm going to dish out 7 proven holiday tips that will guarantee that will help you to not put on that unwanted weight. Okay. And that's really what it's all about. And so for those who don't know me, my name is Sandra Goldtree. I am a registered dietitian. I am a certified personal trainer and your accountability partner. And this month, I'm simply focused on helping people to get through the holidays without the unwanted weight gain. Okay. I tell my clients who fearful of going into the holidays, who want to lose weight so desperately, maintaining during the holidays is success, especially if you have been losing prior to the holiday months. That's usually what has people afraid, because they have been losing and now they're going into the holiday months where they know they're not really quite strong enough to, tone things down. I say, if you maintain, you are doing great, because trust me, you're eating way more than weight loss calories just by maintaining. So count it as a success. And then in the new year, you are continuing on your journey instead of trying to get back on track. Understand what I mean by that? And so now we want you to enjoy your holiday favorites. I'm a big proponent of, I don't believe in diets. So I do believe in enjoying the holidays, and you can enjoy them without feeling guilty or without feeling like you have to avoid some of your favorite foods. So it's really just that simple. So that's what it's all about. Life is too short. Okay. And so chime in as you are tuning in, give me a shout out, say hello, post any comments, questions, aha moments, stories, anything. Okay. I love engagement. All right. And so this is a two-way street. Okay. I don't want to just talk at you. I want you to respond back to me and give me some of that energy back. Okay. And so let's jump into the topic. Let's talk about 'tis the season to be jolly, food galore. Okay. And we're talking about sweets and comfort foods and how to indulge, how to enjoy without having the unwanted extra. I'll say that extra weight that comes along with it. Okay. And then I'm going to give you 7 tips. All right. So, and as a sneak peek, I'm going to give you this URL just to kind of give you a sneak peek of how to manage all this and how to make it all happen for you. And take a peek and go to this website where it is a free download for you all to kind of have an idea of, well, what do you eat leading up to the holidays and what do you eat on the day of? And so definitely take advantage of that. It's free and it's packed of recipes and a meal prep guide. And so I will talk more about that a little bit later. All right. And so my question, I always like to kick things off, kind of polling my audience. And so were you surprised to see Christmas decorations in the middle of September, like around Labor Day? Okay. I think it gets earlier and earlier. And I remember it was nothing before Thanksgiving. And then it became Halloween. Now I saw it in Labor Day. I walked in Sam's and I'm like, wow, I'm starting to see Christmas stuff. So were you surprised? Did you notice, right? Type if you even felt surprised, if you noticed, if you don't really care. I mean, I really don't at the end of the day, but it's just surprising. It's just funny to see the stuff coming up earlier and earlier. I guess next we'll see it at 4th of July, I guess. So remember back in the day, when we at least waited to Thanksgiving before we put the tree up, before we put the decorations up. So now there's just no lines, right? So let's jump into today's topic. So let's go into our first set of 7 holiday survival tips, all right, on how to avoid the holiday weight gain. Number 1. And so again, tune in, let me know that you're on, post questions, respond to me, and I am going to respond back. So survival tip number 1, regulate your sugar, your added sugar intake, okay? Added sugar, we want to regulate that. Avoid it? No, but we do want to regulate it. And that's coming from the holiday cookies and the cake and the pies. Yes, they are tempting. And if somebody presents me a homemade German chocolate cake, you best believe I'm going to steal it all. Okay. But the added sugar in excess may increase our risk for cardiovascular disease as well as obesity over time, not just the one day, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, our birthday, but over time. And that's usually what happens. And so you want to stick with sugar that comes from natural forms is a better source because we're going to have at least some nutrients that come along with that natural sugar, like the fruits and the veggies and the whole grains. Okay. And also try smaller tastes of desserts that you truly crave rather than loading your plate up, okay, with something that you really don't care for. So have selectivity is what I always like to say. Have selectivity in your sweets. Homemade, good, something that you can only get that time of the year, definitely a winner. Something you can just buy in the grocery store, is it worth it? You can buy it in the store, so you can get it anytime. So that's a food for thought. Holiday survival tip number 2, eat slow, chew slow. Who does that? I struggle with this as well. However, eating slow does help slow down the process. Okay. You want to pace yourself. You want to give your brain a chance to register that, oh, I'm full or I'm satisfied. So the quicker you eat, the less time your body has to do that. So it does that. That science is really true. Eat slow, chew slow, talk while you're eating, conversate before you just kind of get up and get the next plate. Okay. And eating slow increases the after meal response of gut hormones that regulate having a loss of appetite. So it really helps to kind of slow down that process of overeating if you allow your body time to do that. Okay. And also studies continue to show that eating slower will lead to a decrease in energy intake within meals, especially in women. So that's something to think about, my ladies. Okay. And so question for you. So have you ever attempted to ditch added sugar? Ever throughout the year, ever? Have you ever attempted to ditch the added sugar? So say you've tried or you've not tried. Most people have tried. I hear so many people say, oh, I cut out sugar, I cut out sweets. They go as far as say they cut out carbs, which they didn't cut out carbs, but they cut out certain carbs. They did not cut out carbs. And so I generally do not recommend this because honestly, it's unrealistic. Okay, you may have victory short term, or you may have victory until you're able to get into that dress for that event. But at the end of the day, it's not a life at all. It's not sustainable, nor is it what is required of your body. Okay. Nor does your body like that, first of all. So added sugar is in more than just sweets and baked goods. Okay. They're in other foods as well. So generally the problem lies with when eating added sugar is the excess. Okay. You don't have to cut it out, but it's the excess. And you're not taking in the recommended nutrients that the body does need and that the body does use. So usually the added sugar, not only does it not have nutrients, but it's displacing the foods that do, because we don't include them in our eating pattern. So that's kind of how the problem compounds. And so hence you have the strong cravings, you have the low energy, you have the weight gain, you have the health complications. Many of us have brain fog, we have headaches, we have inflammation, just a whole host of issues, okay, that just stem from the fact that the body is just craving nutrients, not necessarily the fact that you had a cookie. Okay, so remember that. All right, and so let's go into holiday mistake number 3, or holiday survival tip number 3, on how to indulge in your sweets and your comfort foods without overdoing it or without having the unwanted weight gain. And so what we have here is you want to wait a few seconds before going back for seconds, if you even need to go back for seconds. So usually, honestly, that's where people kind of make a mistake, is by going back for seconds in the first place, because usually that first plate is pretty heavy, right? It's usually pretty heavy, usually, if we're honest with ourselves, especially if you show up hungry, which that's a whole nother topic that you all have heard me speak on. But you want to be careful going back for seconds. Okay, that's why buffets are dangerous, because it's, to me, it's just a license to overeat. If you have no control, and you feel like you got to get your money's worth, that gets you in a whole lot of trouble when you feel like you got to get your money's worth. So, like I had mentioned, the faster we eat, the less time we give our bodies to register fullness, right? And so it really takes about 20 minutes for the brain to get the memo that dinner or whatever that meal has been served. So it's best to walk around, chat, drink some water, just do something to kind of buy that time. Before you know it, that craving or that thought would have passed. It's almost like a wave, okay? But in most cases, our bodies, we don't give our bodies that chance to kind of let it settle. We just want more in that moment, okay? So try not to act so impulsive, and you'll find yourself saving a whole lot of calories, okay? All right, number 4, holiday survival tip number 4. Just say no. Just say no to what, right? Just say no. So I'm a firm believer that, with all due respect, your friends and your family, they want to keep you fat. They want to keep you eating unhealthy. They want to keep you in that same circle that they are in. But maybe they're not the one with the blood pressure diagnosis, or the pre-diabetes scare, or the cholesterol that's on the rise, and the doctor wants to put you on medicine. They're not the ones dealing with all that, right? And so even though your relatives may encourage overeating by shoving seconds, or et cetera, there is a way to respectfully decline. And then I also know that it's cultural. A lot of times it's cultural. It's disrespectful to say no or to turn things down. But there is still a way to respectfully decline, okay? Especially if your life is on the line, your health is on the line, okay? So you can say things such as, I'm full, or, oh, I need to take a little break right now. If it's somebody who really loves you and really cares for you, and that should work, okay? And because you are acknowledging that you are eating different. If you've been eating one way for years and all of a sudden you show up like half eating or not eating at all, yes, it's going to draw attention to yourself. So you want to lessen that attention to where people are not like, what's wrong with you? You can't eat, or they get offended. So you got to think about that. Okay, so we got to find that balance. Okay, it's what we want to get at. Find that balance. And your family and your friends the best. So you got to find that balance. So how do you feel after going back for that second plate? Do you feel stuffed? Do you feel overstuffed? Do you feel guilty? Do you want to take a nap? I was there. I used to overdo it every holiday season, and I would feel stuffed and I'd take a nap. It was kind of, you eat, a few minutes later you're laying down, a few minutes later the TV's watching you. So I've been there. So where do you fall in that? Or have you reached to a point where, the long-term goal, the ultimate goal is the holidays from a food perspective are no different than any other day. Okay, you have different food, right? But you don't have to overdo it if you go into that holiday season in a good place. So you gotta be in a good place. Okay. That's what's key, being there in a good place. All righty. And so now we're down to our last two tips. Okay. Our last two tips. Those went by really, really fast. And so for those who have tuned in late, stay tuned. I'm going to share how to put all of this to practice. I've given you 7 tips. I'm giving you 7 tips. Don't try to do them all at one time. I would say pick one, unless you have been trying to do some of the other ones and you want to kind of give it another try, then do so. But to make it seem less overwhelming and less, daunting, then just pick one. Okay. And so I'm gonna put a URL up here, and this is a sneak peek on how you can begin to put all these pieces together, because it's great to give out this advice and it's great to give out these tips, but how do you do it? For somebody who's not used to doing, or for someone who thinks that they are doing it, then it's difficult. So this is an example, okay, a real example of how you can start to put some of these pieces together. Okay. Number 5. Okay, so number 5, holiday survival tip. Cave into your cravings. Okay, so I'm a firm believer of this. I tell my clients this all the time. I would rather you have an ice cream craving. I'm going to use that as an example. I would rather you drive to Baskin Robbins, pay $5-6 for a scoop of ice cream, get it out your system, enjoy it. There's no reason to feel guilty. There's no reason to feel like you bombed your goals up to this date, especially if you've been working with a dietitian and you've been following the recommendations more than not, then that does not break the bank. But what will happen if you really want that ice cream, what's going to happen is probably a week later, if that long, you're going to find yourself binging on a whole gallon, and you're not going to understand why, because you're going to forget that you had that craving and a scoop of ice cream would have just fixed it. So it's a method to the madness. You have to really be honest with yourself versus thinking that you have willpower. Willpower will never win in the end. It's a short-term band-aid, but willpower never wins. You want to have total control. So I highly recommend that you acknowledge the cravings instead of pushing them aside, in the name of being strong, or in the name of I'm going to stay on my diet or something like that. Okay. And so it doesn't work in the end, and it doesn't teach you how to identify if your body is really wanting something, or maybe it's a passing wave. Okay, so we really want to learn how to dissect that, and that's a lot of what I work with my clients. So weight loss is more than just weight loss. Okay, so cave into those cravings as long as it's in moderation, and it can curb the desire to just lose control later. Okay, so forbidding a specific food or a food group during the holiday season makes it more attractive, right? It makes you want it more, and then you end up eating more. And so, for example, so that's why I use the ice cream as an example. Okay, so think about that and think about how that relates to you, because that's a very common one that many, many, many people experience. And so, holiday mistake number 6, and chime in, say aha. If you can't say amen, say ouch. Just reply and tune in if you can relate. Share, because this is about irony sharpening iron. So we all help each other out, because you are not alone. I always tell people, you think you're alone, but you are not alone. And I go through the same things that you all go through as well, believe it or not. Okay, dietitians are not perfect eaters. We just know better, but we have to stay intentional, just like we express to you all to stay intentional. So, holiday survival tip number 6, fill up on fiber. Okay, so especially during the day, because the meals, usually holiday meals, are not the most nutrient rich foods usually. Okay, especially if it's traditional holiday food. It depends on what it is. And so snacking on vegetables and other high fiber foods like legumes can help you make you feel fuller longer, like beans and nuts and things like that. And you still have room for dessert. So kind of survey and see, well, there's usually some vegetables somewhere. There's usually something somewhere where you can get a little bit of nutrients in your day. And then snack on fiber rich foods leading up. That's probably what's most important. Think about breakfast. Okay, those who know me know I talk about breakfast a lot. So I have many replays that I've done recently on breakfast, on why that's important and what it should look like. So breakfast is very important, and then having those healthy snacks throughout the day leading up to, trust me, you will still have room for the feast. Trust me. And you will feel much better after, because you would have enjoyed all the foods that you want to enjoy without feeling some kind of way afterwards. So that's really what it's all about. You don't want the effects of it. All right. So here is my question. Yes or no? Yes. If you feel good when you're strong enough to say no to your favorite food being thrown in your face. So reply yes. So basically reply yes if you feel like you're strong enough to say no to your favorite food when it's been put in your face. Now, I'm gonna add another twist. What if it's only one time a year that you see this food? So take caution before you post your reply, because we have best intentions when we're trying to be strong to say no, but this is where you have to really do a self-assessment. Are you really saying no because you're trying to lose weight, or in the name of eating healthier, or are you saying no because you really don't want the food? Okay, so that's when you really have to take an honest assessment of yourself. Okay, because if you're not doing it because you really don't want it, like you really like, our palate does change over time. If you've been eating healthy and you've been enjoying it because you haven't been depriving yourselves, your palate will change. And so something that used to just love and look forward to, it just kind of, you're like, okay, I'm good. But that's a process that doesn't happen overnight. So sometimes this is a gray area. So if you truly want to resist, if you truly want it, but you resist it, it's going to backfire. Okay. So I usually say, give it 10, 15 minutes, drink some water, walk around. If you're still thinking about it, it's a good chance you probably should have some of it. Okay. At least see what it tastes like to see if it's even worth it. A lot of times things look better than they taste, but you don't know that if you don't taste it. So sometimes you have to just kill the curiosity, right? And so think about that. Okay. So it's a lot of nuggets, a lot of things to think about that we typically don't tend to think about. Okay. And so the takeaway message and holiday survival tip number 7, take it easy on the white stuff. Okay. So what do I mean by that? Take it easy on the white stuff. So this kind of syncs up with number 6, which we're talking about the fiber. Okay. So simple carbs are often the white stuff, the white bread, the refined sugars, things like soda and candy. So usually they just don't have a lot of nutrients in them, and they usually taste good, right? So that's why we crave them. But it's almost like an addiction. We continue to want more, and we want more, and we want more. And so these foods provide energy, but they often lack the nutrients that complex carbs have, which are found in our starchy foods that have the fiber, like the potatoes and the corn and the whole grains and our fruits and things like that. So you're going to get a quick high, but then you also get a crash afterwards, right? And then your body's really not getting what it needs. So go into this month of December, go into this holiday season, or continue this holiday season thinking about food, fun, and balance. And how do you make that happen? Still include those whole grains. And if you're not, start including those whole grains. Fruits, incorporate more if you're not really doing it. Vegetables, incorporate more if you're not really doing it. The nuts, the seeds, the low-fat dairy. Yes, the low-fat dairy. Include that as well, while you're still enjoying your holiday favorites. And the more you do that and you get accustomed to it, then the day of these big food festivals, I call them, is not such a big deal. Okay, it's like you go into it, you look forward to it, but it's not like going to tear all your work apart. Okay. And so cave into your holiday favorites in moderation. Enjoy it. Okay. You're supposed to. Food is for fun and for enjoyment, I like to say. And so how do you put all this together? That's really the question. How do you begin creating new habits before Christmas? We got a few weeks. You don't have to wait until January 1st. You don't have to wait till Monday. You don't have to wait until a new month. You start now. Okay. And so here is one way that you can do that. So look no more. So I have this exciting, free, amazing, it's a 5-day 5 days of meals, recipes, snacks, itemized grocery list, and it also has a meal prep guide. So you find yourself just prepping things when you need to prep them. So it also can teach you how to prep things, because prepping is daunting for a lot of people. However, there is a method to that as well to make things easier and manageable. And so some of the things that you can experience after these 5 days, you can definitely have a surge of energy within the 5 days. Okay. So think about that 2 to 4 p.m. slump that people typically have, that crash and burn, I like to call it. You have the benefits of eating satisfying meals that keep your cravings at bay. And that's what's important. you still want things, but you don't want the cravings to control you. That's what's important. You waking up feeling refreshed, energized, ready to take on the day with real energy from food. Continue to enjoy your coffee with your breakfast, but understand that the energy is coming from your food. The coffee is just something on the side to enjoy. I'll challenge anybody on that. I've done it before. And the added bonus is you're also able to jumpstart your weight loss. You're going to feel less bloated. You're going to feel better. Okay. So definitely check this out. It's free. My Christmas gift to you, my holiday gift to you. And so these are some, use 1 or 2 meals on Christmas Day. You know, you don't have to follow the whole 5 days in its entirety all at once. Pick a few favorites that look good to you so that you're fueled going into the holiday festival, okay, the holiday feast, okay, especially if it's later in the day. You don't want to not eat or only eat 1 meal and then you're eating dinner at 6 o'clock. So think about that, okay? And so this is all that I have for you today. Remember to download your free 5-day meal plan that has recipes and meal plans and snacks and meals and a grocery list and a guide to take you through every step of the process if you want to do the whole meal plan. And you always will have this. So you can always pick it up and use it. Okay. But for now, just kind of pick your favorites and then enjoy other things that you regularly eat. All right. So post any questions, any comments, any feedback that you have. If you need any help, let me know. I'm here for you. So this concludes what I have of this week's nutrition and wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. And I am Sandra, your RDN. Thank you for listening live. Thank you for tuning into the replay. And stay tuned for next week. We're going to have some more good stuff for you. We're going to talk about holiday spirits as well as have an up close and personal. So we have a couple of things going on next week that will help to motivate you going into this holiday season. So bye for now and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.